All right, so we're back with setting an ideal environment with Joseph Gantar and Gantar Enterprise. You see, we're going to be going into another segment or series right after this. So this is going to be a little bit of a longer one. So I'm just priming the line for next time. Anyways, so to get right into it, you see, we were talking about how to paint a picture and all the moving parts of the picture. Well, right now we're on to the birds. How do the birds play a role? You're like, well, like, come on, like, what is it? What is this? Well, when you're talking about a leadership or a work environment type of an environment, what we're actually talking about is what do birds really do seriously? They fly, they show things, and they're an actual sign of freedom, essentially. You see, when you see a bird in the air, like, what are you thinking? Like, they're just literally, like, completely free. That's if they're just soaring in the air, going from A to B. I mean, you could see a blue jay, a robin, a raven, a hawk, an eagle, and they soar and they just go about whatever they want to do, or they're flying and they don't have a care in the world. So that is why you really want to make sure you want to have this type of essential cultural temperament within your workplace or that cultured environment is freedom. You have to be free for the creativity to flow through. Now, I'm not talking about freedom of speech, freedom of entitlement, and freedom of some very unfortunate things that have been intentionally good and then have been twisted for certain individuals' manipulative tactics. Not that at all. What I'm talking about is for an organization to freely pursue without restriction the creativity, the an abundance, essentially, of knowing, okay, if this is the outcome, what if I do this? What if I do that? It's literally like you're painting a picture, and that's what a bird is in this picture for, is to show that. See, taking an eagle an example, when they soar, it shows that they are free in the sky. And that is pretty much about it. They're not worried about anything else, okay? When they're in the sky, they're in the sky. Now, take wars for an example. No matter the weapons used, it is the spirit that determines the result of victory. So, if you take it from a corporate environment or to a battlefield, you are going to experience a type of battle within where you have to choose the bird that you're going to essentially not become, but essentially mirror or mimic. Are you going to be a magpie, a seagull, a chicken, a turkey, or an eagle? It's completely up to you. And why do I say that? Is because you can literally go after the scraps. You can literally be the hunted and play poor pity me like a chicken. Or you can just say, I'm going out for it. I'm just going to do what I got to do because that's how I got to just live this life once and for all, free like an eagle. Okay. So, how would flowers essentially be part of this? Well, as you can see, believe it or not, there is going to be seasons. So, a flower doesn't just sprout out of the ground. And you're like, well, like when I see it in the summertime, it's there. But guess what? There's planting that has to happen. There's watering. There's the sun. There's many things that come around a flower. Like this is an example, a rose here, and you can see that it's just the only thing that is out of ash. Okay. And why did I choose this specific picture? Is because it doesn't matter what you've just been through. It only matters what you're going to pursue in the sense of if it is actually holistically sound and there is actual merit for this, where you're actually trying to achieve great things to help not only yourself, but to help others. This is the end result. Regardless of your opposition, you will rise. Okay. So through this journey, there are many times of trials, not easy ones, only to just solidify the great vision that is planted within to make sure that this is something great worth to pursue. Every vision, every dream has to be essentially is this actually like what you really want to do? Is this what you're really passionate about wanting to pursue? That's why you're faced with hurdles, trials, tribulations, whatever you might want to call it. But you just have to make sure that you understand that every vision, every dream is going to get shaken. Whether it stands the test of time is dependent on how well rooted that dream or vision is within you or the person that around you. For me, this is why I continue to do this, because it is just one of those things that I'm just like, you know what? It's going to be the time when, it's just a matter of like, I'm tired of just doing things for me. I got to be able to do something to hopefully help someone else out, hopefully enrich them, enlighten them, encourage them, empower them, educate them, whatever that might be, into the slightest or the greatest degrees. It doesn't matter. What matters is that I just want to see good people succeed. So through this journey, never forget the celebration of small victories, only to refresh mentally and physically for a moment, not forever. So when you achieve certain things, milestones, goals, or things that you've kind of set, take a moment, 12 or 24 hours, get the victory out of you, and then just pursue on to the next phase or the next step of your journey. That's what that's all about. This is to feel the determination, discipline that is required in order to move to the next step in this phase of the journey. You cannot celebrate past victories. That is completely ridiculous, because you will get taken out as soon as you do that. It's called a humbling experience. They're not very fun, I can tell you that. Why would a path be mentioned in such a picture of this? Well, here's the thing. When you're looking at a path, you got to look at where you're at and where you're headed and what does that look like, you see? People need direction from the start to the finish, something to guide them essentially. You cannot just be like, okay, here you go. This is where we're going to go. No, they need to be led. And that means is normally through a path. Okay. Understand those that are around you that are, you are the guide. You choose wisely who is able to influence you. So if you are easily influenced, you're probably not going to be able to do anything of great efforts in such a short period of time in order to achieve great things. It's just not going to happen. Okay. So the key here is to really embrace the journey. And the journey is going on the path of allowing who are you going to allow to influence you. So one of the misconceptions are, how can you go through this journey with minimal tools of direction, understanding that timing is everything, just like a guide in the mountains who sees the near path during the day and uses the stars at night to guide him to his destination. You see, the landscape could easily change. You could easily get disoriented if you're in a scenery or an environment where you're in a mountainous terrains and you're like, well, how do you figure out like which peaks where and why would you go to that one instead of this one? And this other one seems a lot shorter where we can head over there. Well, the reality is that what you see momentarily in front of you essentially could be a misconception or an illusion, essentially. But if you wait, what happens? Great things tend to appear in the sense of giving you enlightenment or direction. Hence, why do you always hear, where's your North Star? And, a few other major, key points in the sky when it comes to the stars, why they're always heavily influenced. That's why the Big Dipper, the Small Dipper, etc. Okay. Why would you put yourself in the picture? Well, here's a really good question. The reason being is, when you're putting yourself in the picture, this will show commitment to the vision, the desire to move forward with things, how you actually want to be a part of it. You see, the thing is it's one thing to create a vision or a passion or a culture, for a team. But, for an example, when I was leading and mentoring and doing these things years ago in certain environments, I intentionally made sure that I was right with those that I was impacting. And the reason being was that is because if I didn't buy into it, I wouldn't expect them to buy into it. We ended up producing, we ended up being very efficient. And that period of time, things were great. Sure, we had a few different, hurdles that we had to overcome internally. But the fact of the matter is that having to deal with sometimes the hard, problematic people in certain ways was the best way to essentially save the team. And because making those hard decisions allowed me to really excel in those seasons where I was able to really create a culture, create a sense of security for people to just truly do what they wanted to do, is just do what they needed to do, but in peace, being effective and productive and efficient. And we met goals like this. It was just amazing. However, if you're not in the picture, how are you able to walk through the journey of what is really being pursued here? You're not going to be able to be relatable. You're not going to be able to actually have conversations with them. You're not going to actually be able to have a hello, okay, with anyone. They're literally just going to walk, and it's going to be very cold, stoic, and it's going to be like, I'm done with this. People are going to start dropping off and you to spend more money. And I've seen this where companies not able to actually hold together a very solid, true team, because that team, when it was initially built, I was greatly a part of this, was so strong and so how can you say this in a way would be, it's the mortar in that group was amazing. The chemistry was phenomenal, and we just all embraced our roles and we just rolled with it. So those that I was able to leave in that time, in that season, it was phenomenal. Being now in a different phase of life, doing a completely different line of work, I find this is a much better and effective work. But when I was in those past years, it was something else to see, because you could see it very vividly, very clearly, and it didn't take a whole lot of time to see the actions that rolled out and then the reactions that were to follow that within a group environment. So everyone needs a model to follow, someone to guide them, inspire them, motivate them, give them some type of insight that keeps them determined and disciplined. You see, we are essentially the merging five. And what does that mean? It's whoever's the closest five within touch with you the most. Those are people that are probably going to influence you the greatest. So be very, very wise in who you allow into the closer inner circles of your life, because they will, no matter what, impact your life for the positive or the negative. You decide. So what motivates you? What keeps you determined and disciplined? Find these types of qualities in people that you potentially might feel slightly out of reach, out of. Work on yourself, develop yourself in the sense of understanding things through reading and audios and research and things of that nature to help you become a much better version of yourself. And I can guarantee you those people that might seem just out of reach might be now much closer to you in the shoulder to shoulder experience. So this is you. Never underestimate the power that you have to accomplish anything, big or small, and much more that is expected of you. You see, it's not it's not what you're able to do, it's what you're responsible for and how you're able to be accountable for it and how you're able to roll that out. Many times I was in situations where it's like, it's easy just to take a shortcut here or maybe do something a little bit shady there or shady here, but it doesn't really pay off in the end. You see, one small move, one small, thing of one nature or another can cause great harm and great distress. Why? Well, I'll tell you why. Because it doesn't take, you're really only one or two decisions away from ruining your life, whether you want to accept it or not. I believe that that's very true. So, life is very fragile. So, never underestimate the power of those choices that are literally right at your fingertips. Never forget to put the things, the people that you are influencing or leading in the picture that they love. Okay. So ask a grandparent, do they have a picture of their grandchildren? They normally do. They'll actually have a paper one or a photograph of it. Okay. And you ask a parent, do they have a picture of their child? Well, they'll normally pick out their phone, just like this mother is right here. It's not hard to see when people have things close to them that are dear to them. They always try and have an image close to them or an image near them. Okay. So when you're leading a team, you're asking them that this is for a specific person's needs, or you ask the person, this is a specific saving apparatus. When people are just coming in and think, oh, this is whatever, another day, another dollar, no, ask the person beyond them to see the impact beyond them, the big picture on the way how things are conducted. You see, it isn't all about one thing or another, in the sense of it's never about you. It's always about others. You help enough people to get what they want, you'll get what you want in return. It's just a matter of time and effort. More effort, the shorter the time, the less the effort, the longer the time. You decide what that's going to look like. So, with that all being said and done, never forget what the big picture is. It is a journey of development, and you will never be able to say I've arrived if you are actually truly on that journey. Because the more I realized, what I learned was the more I realized I didn't know. It took me many years to actually fully understand that, even though I said that for a long time. But on that note, next week, we're going to be on Opening Eyes to Possibilities, Part 1. This is a new series. We're going to be back on 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. Until next time, work hard and stay humble.